how do I get bigger arms? How do I get my noodly 16-year-old guy arms to beefy proportions? How do I do it? Should I do drag curls? Should I do skull crushers? Should I do Arnold press and do some shoulders at the same time? What if I, insert any other, how do I grow my arms? And the first thing I want to tell you is, for one, it's not that simple, in the sense that there's not a singular movement or style or whatever that's going to work. And any method that you even fucking try to employ is going to be both argued for and against by bro science, jargon. Like, oh, your bicep is a much smaller muscle than your chest, so you should work it with less frequency because it's going to take longer to recover because it's so small. I've also heard, and I've heard this from like reputable dogs, just in, from videos or whatever, where it's like, oh, your biceps are a small muscle group, so they can handle training and recover a lot faster. So literally the two opposite sides of the fucking same statement for how you should train your arms. So how I take that is, fucking do what works. And don't just do what works, do what works for you specifically. So for me, my arms are biggest and baddest when they're nice and fucking pumped and strong. So pump side, right? I'm trying to get a crazy arm pump at the end of every arm day. I'm talking push downs, supersets, the occasional drop set. Nothing crazy. Real heavy push downs, heavy dips, some lighter squeezing kind of stuff. If you don't have, let's say you're doing a home gym workout, I love dumbbell kickbacks. Tricep kickbacks, lightweight, really squeeze. You're not getting that same kind of tension effect in the stretch position like you are in a push down, but in terms of the contraction that you're getting at the top, dumbbell kickbacks are pretty much fucking peak. I should do them a little bit more often. But as long as you wreck your triceps, I think that's all you need to do to put them into a state of at least muscular stimulation. And then what you do outside of the gym is what determines whether or not you're going to grow or just maintain your size and strength while you get leaner. Those are the two alternative states of being that I'm kind of bouncing between. So right now, the training is not resulting in any muscle growth, purely muscle maintenance. So all I'm concerned with is making sure they stay strong. I pump them up. Honestly, that's pretty much it. So my arm day will look as such. I'm definitely going to do some heavy push downs somewhere in this workout. I'm not exactly certain if it's going to be first or maybe after a few warm-up sets. Because when I'm dieted down, that's when my triceps are a little bit more, let's say, tender. When I'm fully bulked up, got fucking fats and carbs and everything just flowing through my veins, all my joints feel pretty solid. When I'm dieted down, I'm a bit more depleted. I'm not in so much of a, just fucking completely fed and energized state. I can tell it takes me a little bit longer to actually get into, I think my battery is gonna die soon. I might be kind of screwed here. But, what was I about to say? Yeah, so it takes me a little bit longer to get into things. To the point where I'm a bit more concerned about actually really being warm, making sure that I'm totally exposed to the weight before I actually start working sets. Because the whole purpose of a warm-up, right, is to fucking get warm. I'm exposing myself to more and more weight until I'm comfortable with the working weight that I'm into. So if I start off too light, or no, what am I saying? If I jump into the heavy sets too soon, then it can feel like I'm, not really into it. Like I'm not really recruiting as many fibers or whatever else. My mental signals aren't firing as hard as they should. Whereas once I warm up a little more, I've done maybe a light starting set instead of a real heavy one in the beginning, then I kind of ease into the weight a little bit more. But I'm definitely a proponent of doing sets at your maximum physical output. And what I mean by that is, if you're physically capable of doing a reasonable set of heavy pushdowns, like with the stack, for 10 good reps, I think you should do it, you know? As long as you're not exploding your elbow tendons because you've got tennis elbow or whatever else, then I would really suggest that you work on your strength side of things. Because a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle, and vice versa. So as you gain a bit more strength and you can use more weights, then the training intensity you're going to be able to bring to each workout will gradually increase. You know what I'm saying? So let's just hope I can make it to the Planet Fitness without fucking running out of battery or whatever. Get arms started. All right, so I decided full dedication to the tricep, bicep, back and forth style today. I just know I'm going to finish with a crazier pump. And whenever I'm dieted down, you got to remember the pump is constantly fleeting. Whether you're fully bulked or cut and, you know, flat and depleted, once you do that last set, your pump starts to fucking diminish. And when I'm dieted down, it's especially so, you know. If a pump lasts a fucking, I mean, I'm talking 45 minutes fully bulked, it's more of like a 20-minute sensation when you're dieted down. So finishing tries and buys at the same time just makes a little more sense. But underhand, long D handle, perfect starter. Yeah. Yeah. Sort of a superset. I'll do some overhand to finish. Yeah. All right. Let's do some curls and start this fucking process. I think 70-pound curls. Yeah, no, it's on purpose. Thanks. Appreciate it. No, but I'm thinking 75-pound curls. That should be just about fucking perfect. Strapped, of course. All right. Oh man. I'm gonna come back to these. Okay. That was a good controlled set. I think the next one gonna be a bit nastier. Back to the 70s. I might not be so controlled with them this time, because I mean that last set, that was 70 pounds for 10. Perfect. No swinging, no nothing. But just because you do a little bit of a forced rep doesn't mean it's a bad set. I think it's just a different kind of stimulus. No, I just have to match it with a good song. Okay. A little nastier form wise. Really good set though. I think preacher's next. Okay, so I feel like this really needs to be said. There is a massive difference between, the cable cross stacks for pushdowns and for this. Well, if you've been to a Planet Fitness, you know what I'm talking about. This is the stack where it's just one cable, no fancy like leverages and pulleys. Like when I pull this down, I feel every pound of this weight. I'm not, this whole stack right now is too much. I got to go a couple pounds under. But 160 on a 1-to-1 pull down, or push down rather, this will count as a nice heavy one. Kind of a good contrast between the squeezing sets from earlier. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's your job. Okay. Okay. Let's do some preachers. So, preacher curl taken, but this may as well be a preacher machine. I mean, the basic premise of it's the same. It's just the arm on the pad, but more of a seated curl. Either way, I wish the sack was a touch heavier, but it'll be a good set. I'll make sure to really squeeze too. Okay. Ooh. Time for machine dips. If you hadn't noticed, I'm kind of deciding what machine to do literally the set before I do it, which I wouldn't call stupid and spontaneous. I would just say that I'm waiting until I have all the information I want to make the best decision possible to get as pumped as possible. And I think machine dips will do the trick. So, historically, I have done machine dips in kind of an erratic style, like how I do the push downs sometimes. I'm kind of just forcing reps, burning out. But as of late, I've been liking being actually pretty methodical with them. You know, so instead of just pumping reps, like I feel better doing that on like a cable. Whereas down here on the dips, when I get to the bottom, I'm really going to try to hold it and feel like I'm trying to pull my arms even backwards. Like I'm trying to tense my triceps so much that I want my forearm to hyperextend in the range of motion. Now, it doesn't do it, but that's what I'm imagining in my mind. I kind of want to see the tricep too. Fuck it, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. I gotta do drop set. Okay. Overestimated my muscular endurance, but that was good. Now let's do some preachers. The bread and butter of machine curls. Well, actually, no, not exactly. I say this every time. I like setting up this little D-handle rig so that it feels better for my elbows and my forearms. But no point saying that right now. Let's just hit this about as heavy as I can manage. I tried to do what the machine says is 140, and I could do a rep, but it was pushing it a little too far weight-wise. Drop it just a touch. 125 is the sweet spot. And I assume assisted reps will also occur. Those were good. Self-insistence to get the reps up and then riding the negative. That's a good approach to fucking any set. But let's get some more tries going. Not push downs though. Those felt good, but I don't want to do another set. So I'll pick something else. Alternating single arm push downs to total failure. Probably a touch of assisted reps as well. Perfect. And moderate weight too. This counts as one of my light squeezing sets for the lift. None of this full stack dip mumbo jumbo, as some of you might like to call it. Okay.
I'll take one more of this too.
Okay. Back to preachers. A little heavier last time. Oh. I don't know what I want to do next. Fuck, I got to think about it. I've kind of done a lot. Well, you'll find out in 1 second. All right, here's the plan. And this might be the last set for triceps. Pre-exhaust, rope pushdowns, squeeze hard as fuck, then immediately go jump onto the dip machine with the stack. That's a combination which will wreck even the most advanced lifter's triceps. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. One more superset of buys, and I think arms are done. Piece of failure, and burnout with the 60-pound easy bar curl. Or easy bar curl, not girl. Okay, that counts. Oh. Okay. All right. We're pumped. Let's do some flexes and skedaddle. I would typically advise against the right out in the open pose down, especially in a and let's just say a place that's so sensitive to any lunking. But the gym's packed. I don't want to invade anyone's space in the locker room. It's like, what's worse? Flexing with a full gym of Planet Fitness goers, or making the locker room uncomfortable. Right? It's kind of a no fucking brainer. But if the lunk alarm were to go off, now would be the time. But I doubt it. I know all the guys that work here. I get special treatment. I'm kind of spoiled like that over here. All right, back to what we were saying. And if you're curious, this is not a sponsored lift by Planet Fitness. Just to clear things up there. Yeah, I feel like a total fucking meathead right now. This is so stupid. Oh, there we go. All right, one more front lat spread, and then I can put my shirt on and act accordingly to my fucking surroundings. Oh, yeah. Sweet. All right. Let's get out of here. All right. So I may or may not have needed to get a jump start because I think I must have left one of these lights on. That's the only thing I could think of. Because it's, gotta hook the battery up to the charger when I get home. But luckily, transportation was not affected, and thus the pump was not affected. Perfect. And that was a really freaky fucking pump too. I should have backed up like 2 more steps to where the lighting was really fucking, preem. But still nice and fucking nutty. So plan now is just fucking, I guess, to go home and eat. I haven't had that much food today, so I kind of have, I've got pick of the litter when it comes to, calorie intake. I'm talking, fuck, man. I mean, all I had was, Jesus, I've really had like barely anything. What time is it right now? Whoa. All I had was that one meal of steak, plus some keto buns, kind of making some steak and cheese sandwiches, and then I was nibbling at some hard candy, which added up to about 70 grams of carbs. So I've really had fucking nothing to eat today. I get a big ass post-workout meal. Damn straight. I'm not insanely concerned with the fact that my calories are a little, let's just say, sporadic in a sense, because I'm not in a rush to hit my 27, 3,000-ish calorie intake for the day. I'm in no rush to max out my calories, because what that means is I don't get to eat any more food for the whole day. And I was saying this, I say this all the time now that I'm dieting down, but having a lot of calories before you go to bed and being able to go to bed with a full stomach makes dieting so much easier. Because I think for the most part, you'd probably agree with this, it's much easier to go to the gym, or no, what I'm saying, it's much easier to go through life skipping breakfast, and delaying your food intake till later in the day than it is to eat during the day and then not eat at night. Because that's when you're going to get hit with those nightly cravings. And, who wants to go to bed and they're sitting in bed thinking about fucking food, your mouth's fucking salivating, You know, you're like, oh man, oh, I know there's a chocolate chip cookie ice cream sandwich in the freezer. Ooh, look, I'm pretty good at dieting, but if I've been good for like a week, or not a week, if I'm let's say I had 3,000 calories for the day, and I'm hungry, and it's 8 o'clock, and I'm in bed, or I'm like getting ready to go to bed, if I know there's a treat, I'm probably kind of likely to grab it, you know. So better practice to not even put yourself in a situation where you have that temptation, because I mean, fuck, at this point now, since I kind of went the day being a little more sparse food wise, and I woke up late, that also helps, or helped. That's not really a consistent thing, but I can kind of eat whatever. So I cooked 1.5 pounds of steak earlier, top round, nice and lean cut. So I'm probably gonna finish that off. I just had half earlier in the day. Finish that off with, probably a pack of ramen. Maybe do some more of those little keto buns and get some steak and cheese sandwiches in as well. That's fucking perfect. And then all of those amino acids and carbohydrates and lipids are going to be used to maintain my arms' strength and size, get me ready for the day tomorrow. And in the process of burning through all the calories I'm going to eat today, I'm also going to end up cutting into the body fat that I've got kind of all around my build and burn a little bit of that too. That's the whole point of dieting. You know, if you're in a calorie deficit for a sustained period of time, that's just what's going to happen, man. You know, your body's like, fuck, man, I need some energy. I got to get powered by something. So instead of the food you're eating, as long as you're actually in a deficit and you're not cheating, then guess what? It's no mystery. You know, you don't have to be a fucking, what's the word? You don't have to be a detective to find out that, guess what? You're going to get fucking lean, right? You are going to get lean as a mofo. So that's all I really got to say there. Jesus, I'm getting kind of distracted. I need to like make sure I'm idling so I don't fucking, oh my goodness. I was getting a little distracted on the car talking the way to the gym too, because I think the Camry might need to be replaced with a different Camry. That's a future endeavor though. Let's just focus on making it back home to get some meals in. But, oh shit, yeah. I better make sure I get my fucking calories in tonight. Sometimes I don't mind going under a little bit, because all that does is kind of increase the speed at which I'm fucking, you know, dieting down. But I've got legs tomorrow. Legs is a very traumatic lift, to the point where I'm even a little concerned that I want to get some extra carbs in. Like if I'm ever going to have a refeed day, right? If I'm ever going to have a day where I'm like actually like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit weaker, I'm feeling a little bit more fatigued than typical, I can tell I'm kind of starting to slow down on the fat loss rate. That can be a little bit of a cue for me to say, all right, let's bump the calories up for the day. You know, let's kind of have a higher carb day. Maybe go up an extra 800 calories, you know, extra 200 grams of carbs, just for fullness' sake. If I'm gonna pick a day specifically to do that, then that day is going to be pre-leg day, just because it's, fuck, man. I mean, the amount of energy and like, just let's colloquially call it the amount of damage that my body has taken from that arm day, pretty minimal, you know, nothing nuts. Whereas the amount of stress that I'm putting on myself from a hard leg day, you know, that's going to take a little bit more energy. So if you're ever going to have a refeed day, make sure that the day before, or make sure that the day after is a lift that you're really going to go fucking hard on. You know, because then you'll actually be able to make use of that excess calories and potentially, you know, counteract that surplusing effect, you know. But I can't stress enough, if your goal is to get lean, if your goal is to lose body fat, then there's a couple ways to do it. You know, older school guys, they love just talking about the meals. You know, you'll hear most 2000s and earlier bodybuilders, you know, back when they were really primetime dudes, they're always talking about meals in terms of like the amount of ounces of steak or chicken or rice, or I mean that's a little bit more typical fucking nomenclature for the meals. Whereas I feel like as of late we're getting a little more into talking about fucking grams and macros and everything else. But I think that's all I gotta say. So time to go home, get some meals in me, and cardio in the morning.